Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Super Chonk Show. Today we're going to talk about a budget darling. This is the earphone that everybody in the NIBA earphone group is talking about. This is the TRN MT-01. Now just a little bit about TRN. TRN is a company that makes earphones in China. They have their own line of products called TRN. They manufacture earphones and they do OEM for other companies. Which other companies, I do not know, but we'll find out more about them today. But seriously though, there's nothing really much going on their website. They don't really say much about their products. So yeah, I mean their products do exist, but other than that, other than the usual specifications like it's 20 Hz to 20 kHz, it has a single DD, it has BA, or whatever specifications, all those are there. But anything more than that, nothing is really present. But what the heck? These earphones only cost me $8 and I don't think we can really ask for anything much more than that. Now first, let's talk about packaging. I really enjoyed the packaging. It came in a rather nice generic box that has a sleeve on the outer side showcasing what product it is. And this, of course, it's to be expected, right? It is really quite a cheap earphone, and you know, honestly, buying an earphone like this is cheaper than visiting your regular therapist to get yourself sorted. So obviously, I've taken the product out from the box already, as you can see. Initially, the product did not come with the cables attached. The cables were included in package but separate. Okay, so the best part about the packaging of the MT-01 is the sturdy box. Now, honestly, there is a bit of a story with regards to that. When I was a kid, you know, you don't really get too much pocket money to buy nice soccer balls to kick around during recess. You don't really get that. So what all the kids do is to take their usual juice boxes and to use them like soccer balls and just kick them around. Now, those really were the days. This box, with that said, is an amazing double for such a purpose. It is the great white soccer ball box. Now included in package are ear tips. Now I must say that the ear tips of the MT-01 are as useful as dead canaries in a coal mine. Not very good, to be honest with you. So I actually have swapped out the ear tips on my unit with the ones that Sony provided, and they fit a lot better. Now moving on to tech. Honestly, there's not much to say about tech in the MT-01. It has a single 10mm dynamic driver that, honestly, the information was not even on the box. It was on the earphone. So I had to look on the earphone for me to deduce that it was a 10mm dynamic driver. Yeah, so I managed to dig some information from their website with regards to this dynamic driver. So this driver actually has dual magnets inside it, and this increases the magnetic flux, making it a more responsive dynamic driver. Apart from that, it comes in its usual green color chassis. Of course, there are other colors available, such as clear, but the one that I have, it's in green and it actually looks quite nice. It also has detachable 2-pin, but I'm not sure why would you need detachable 2-pin in such a chassis, since most cables are going to cost more than the earphone itself. But nonetheless, it's a nice feature to have if you really want to roll cables. But seriously though, if your cable breaks, I would just rather you just buy another one of these rather than to get new cables, because it's really defeating the point of such a cheap earphone. The MT-01 comes in a semi-custom looking earphone in quite an organic shape. Now if you think that this will give you the kind of fit that a custom earphone will give you, please look away, because it will not give you the kind of fit that a custom earphone can provide you. But with that said, they are really rather comfortable, even without the custom-like experience. They fit well. It's being held up by various points such as your ear tips as well as the cable that loops around your ears. And you know, because of its design, it doesn't really extend much into concha, so don't count it as a pivot point for your earphone. Let's talk about sound, which I think is the most important feature of this earphone. The MT-01 actually has a balanced signature, which I find to be incredibly rare in a earphone for this price point. Usually earphones in this price point tend to be either super bright or super bassy. But the MT-01 managed to find a very fine balance between these two extremes, and managed to carve a niche for itself at this price point. Talking about the bass of the MT-01, the bass of the MT-01 is a linear experience. It tapers a bit towards the mids where it decreases in volume, but with regards to the speed of the bass, don't expect it to be ultra fast, but nor is it ultra slow. You know, when you have ultra slow bass, it tends to bleed all over the place like nasty diarrhea. This earphone does not give you that. In fact, it has a bit of finesse, but not too much to creep up into more expensive territory. So on the whole, it's not too bad. On the whole, bass sounds pleasant and has enough details to keep you intrigued for a while. Bear in mind that this earphone cost me about $8 on the whole. I don't really have high expectations for it. Rather, I have no expectations for it, and it has already exceeded that. Might I dare say bass actually sounds more expensive than it actually is. Now next, let's talk about mid-range. The mid-range is slightly recessed compared to the bass and treble, but this does not make it sound unnatural. Vocals are separated from the rest of the mix, but not to the extent that it sounds 3D. In fact, it actually sounds quite flat on this earphone. Flat as in not tonally flat, but it's just stuck together a bit with the background. Details are good for the price point, but if you compare them with slightly more expensive competition, you might find them to sound a bit fuzzy. I won't call the MT-01 detailed monsters, but rather a chilled listen. Next, moving on to treble. The MT-01 is the type of person that is extremely polite and does not intrude onto anybody's space. Think of it as the guy at parties where, you know, he's just standing in a corner, he looks really nice, he has a really nice personality, but he never really goes up to anybody or intrude into anyone's space. And that is exactly how the MT-01 is. And some might even call that boring. Treble is just present enough to add an edge to the music, and it actually allows your cymbals to be clear and there is actually nice sizzle, but I don't find that it adds a lot to the separation in terms of tone. So separation actually do suffer a bit. The treble is present, but it is not clear enough to give you very good separation. Soundstage. With regards to width and height, the MT-01 actually performs average. I won't say that they are extremely poor, but they are not in any way extremely outstanding. They are good enough, but honestly not fantastic either. Depth. Depth of the MT-01, to be honest with you, is not great. There is very little contrast between the furthest part of the music and the front of the music. Yeah, and in terms of separation, this shows as well. I don't think that the individual instruments are very well separated in the MT-01. Sure, they do not blend in each other, but neither are they very well separated. So in terms of soundstage, they just perform rather average. But then again, this is really to be expected at this price point. It's sub US $10 anyway, so what do you expect, right? You don't really expect them to take on the best in the world. But generally, for soundstage at this price point, they do quite a good job. It's $10 US, what do you expect? And finally, in conclusion, bear in mind that this is only a sub $10 USD earphone. I think it's really commendable for what it has achieved. Is it the best in the world? Honestly, no. Will it beat earphones above its price point? It will beat some earphones above its price point. I actually prefer the TRN MT-01 over the Blonde BL-03. I think it has a bit more details compared to the Blonde, as well as having a more balanced tone. The Blonde for me is a bit more bloaty in the bass section, while I find the TRN MT-01 to be quite well done. So if your expectations are low, I would say that these are great earphones, as long as you don't expect them to perform like the best in class. For those of you who have been spoiled by more expensive earphones, well, honestly, the TRN MT-01 still makes for an extremely good earphone. For days where you just, you feel like listening to music in the shower, you can actually use the TRN MT-01. Will they survive? Probably not. But anyways, it is sub USD $10. And with that, thank you very much for watching the Super Chonk Show. If you like the content so far, please press the like and subscribe button somewhere below and press the bell icon to be notified. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week.